You know, techies, so many people think that rich people are all the same, but it's just not quite true. Not all wealth is created or spent equally. So today we're talking about the types of rich people. Welcome to Alex, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Number 1, the just got rich folks. Now these people aren't even at new money, they're all of a sudden fresh money. These people were not expecting to get rich this soon. They simply rode a wave, made a killing in an emerging industry, and most of the time have a problem dealing with it because they don't have enough time to mature their financial IQ. They got rich super fast and sometimes at too young of an age, and it backfires. They usually hyperflaunt their newfound wealth, they buy stupid things, and most likely will burn through it all fairly quickly. They live under the mantra of "I'll just make more." You can call them out right away because they generally purchase only liabilities like flashy cars, expensive clothes, and bags, but they have no real investment portfolio to back up their lifestyle. They assume whatever made them money will always be there. Sooner or later, they either make a mistake and the pipe dries out, or the wave changes and they fail to adapt. That's when you're left in a house you can't afford with 6 cars waiting to sell and a couch that you paid $20,000 for. Number 2, real estate rich. Most people who say they are real estate rich aren't actually rich yet. Technically, they will be in 30 years, just not right now. These are usually real estate agents with a bit more drive and desire to grow. They use the money they get from their day job as a down payment for their next property. They constantly talk about cash flow, about how they're going to this new property, and how they're forcing appreciation, and how they know someone who has over 10,000 properties already. Truth be told, these are usually some of the nicest people you'll come around. They're not flashy, they're super disciplined, and they know they're playing the long game. Most of them live below their means. They'll eventually be rich when they manage to either sell or mature their portfolio of properties. Number 3, trading and hedge funds rich. Now these are the weird ones. They're all over the spectrum in terms of energy, hype, rockstar, and Red Bull consumption, not to mention other substances that would get us demonetized. For the traders, they love to show you that one trade they made a while back where they made a killing, and their 4-monitor setup was filled with green and red lines. Although traders like to pretend that because they read the news, they constantly understand how the global economy is fluctuating day by day, and they're a lot more reserved because of it. These are the baby brothers of the hedge fund guys. Unless you're paying close attention, hedge fund might miss that they even come a lot better than every other day trader out there. The giveaway is usually the diplomatic limousine and the aid that follows them everywhere. Their yearly bonus alone makes them millionaires. Although they're constantly well-dressed, but it's taking a toll on every aspect of their life. During our university years, in our experience, we had the privilege of getting to know quite well someone from the United Arab Emirates royal family, and are constantly worrying about screwing everything up. They're just normal people, thus artificially increasing their energy through chemicals and spending as much money as they can to keep feeling alive. But they feel the need to break free, insane stories to tell, to make stupid decisions. Royal family rich, but most of them choose to never do that. Prehistoric old money, tech rich, and you're probably expecting these people to be the epitome of dishiness. We always clicked with them well, but you would be mistaken. Well, we're in tech ourselves, aren't we? These are usually geeks, introverts with a unique sense of humor, almost always terrible fashion sense, but almost always with great intentions and even greater intellect. They usually got rich by developing an idea that they had with a couple of friends that blew up. The money came from investors who valued their company in the millions, or if they were successful with a product, from selling said company. They love gadgets, they don't blow through money, and their mind is always buzzing. After a big exit, they usually seclude themselves for a while until they start working on the next one. For tech people, it's the puzzle of business they find the most alluring and figuring out if they can solve it. They take their growth seriously, they have coaches, trainers, mentors, and are a part of mastermind groups. They love to optimize everything in their lives in order to get the most out of it. They realize that in order to get rich in life, you only need to get it right once. These are usually geeks, introverts with a unique sense of humor, almost always terrible fashion sense, but almost always with great intentions and even greater intellect. They usually got rich by developing an idea that they had with a couple of friends that blew up. The money came from investors who valued their company in the millions, or if they were successful with a product, from selling said company. They love gadgets, they don't blow through money, and their mind is always buzzing. After a big exit, they usually seclude themselves for a while until they start working on the next one. For tech people, it's the puzzle of business they find the most alluring and figuring out if they can solve it. They take their growth seriously, they have coaches, trainers, mentors, and are a part of mastermind groups. They love to optimize everything in their lives in order to get the most out of it. They realize that in order to get rich in life, you only need to get it right once. Philanthropy rich, these are usually entrepreneurs who've had a great idea, it blew up, they sold it, and now they're pursuing their true passion of doing good. Or they come from older money and have no interest in going into the family business. They travel the world, they meet people, raise funds, and oversee projects meant to help aid those in need or preserve valuable parts of the world. They're experts in social courtesy and love to use their connections to push projects even further. Because of their efforts, people, communities, species, or pieces of art have found their way into the light. See what Aon is doing in Africa, what Aal Cloney is fighting for, and what Bill and Melinda have done to cure the world. Celebrity rich, this includes TV, movies, entertainers, athletes, that kind of thing. Celebrity rich people are usually first-generation money. They got big with a single project and are struggling to hold on to that fame because their incredibly expensive lifestyle requires it. Most people don't like to see frugal celebrities because they want them to be aspirational, to always look beautiful and opulent, and this has to be the major downfall for most of them. The cost of fame is usually too great, and most celebrity-rich folks get swept up in a whirlwind of expenses. The more stable ones aren't as arrogant as people think. Their time is just really expensive, and we can see why some people might find them hard to connect to. What you need to understand is that most of them are running against a clock. Fame can be gone just as quickly as it showed up, and they have to take this opportunity to make sure it lasts. Trust fund rich, now these are the children of everyone else we're covering on this list. The parents sacrificed a lot coming up, and the results are an incredible life. Their kids don't have to worry about money, every basic expense is being covered. You're not lacking anything else because their parents are still running the family business. The children usually feel disconnected. Parenting suffers when you have to put every hour into building and maintaining an empire. In our experience, trust fund kids are split into two very distinct groups. One is an incredibly obnoxious, entitled prick who believes everything should be delivered to them on a plate because that's been their experience in life so far. The second group is a lot more laid back and deeply appreciative of the struggles their parents went through. They see themselves as responsible for taking their parents' efforts and picking up the torch, finally allowing them to rest. Don't ask rich, these are the people who can't really explain their wealth, at least not in a way that would not incriminate them. They made their money in shadier ways, oftentimes crossing that line into illegal territory. They've never built a company, they didn't go public, and they don't have a paper trail for any of their riches. The riches are just there, and they've grown over the past couple of decades. Some might have even done jail time, but the more connected folks only got charged, and then their cases dropped. In more recent years, they've begun to clean up their image. They took their dark money and began investing it in legal businesses. They're cleaning up their reputation as well. You see many of them on the cover of your favorite financial magazines, and although rumors are still flying around, they make an effort to distance themselves personally from anything that could damage them. Serial entrepreneur rich, these are people who are in love with the process of building businesses. Most of the time, they're very organized, hardworking, and laser-focused. They also might have several other projects that they didn't tell anyone about. Serial entrepreneurs don't take vacations, they don't have time to rest. If they had a company that got acquired and gave them a fortune, they immediately go back to work. This is a breed of people who don't know how to rest. They often keep a low profile when it comes to their wealth and focus their attention on the next business. They're passionate about what they do, and nothing distracts them.